Welcome back to another edition of the OTG show. I'm extremely excited to bring you this Roush-powered monster this week. Let's just get out, let's drive this thing, and let's see what it's all about. Almost immediately when this car was introduced, there were companies and organizations reproducing this thing. About 25 years ago, Shelby America really started cracking down on the licensing agreement and who was actually worthy to build a car like this. This is one of those licensed vehicles. There's really three big boys that build these cars: Factory 5, Super Performance, and Backdraft Racing out of Florida. That's who built this one. Backdraft Racing, they really allow you to do all kinds of custom configuration. They allow you to pick the suspension, the wheels and tires, the interior, the crazy paint like this, and of course the engine, which is really why we buy cars like this. Okay.
How do I look? Do I look good?
You ready? Action.
Let's get out there and see if this 25-pound backdraft go-kart Verde green.
Get out. Let's first talk about the color. It's Ithaca Verde, which basically means green. It's very similar to a Lambo green, but it's not an actual Lamborghini color. It's got a Roush 427 setup in it that makes over 560 horse. And it's got that really cool, old school looking carburetor setup that's actually fuel injected. It's got 18-inch wheels and tires. It's got a TKO 600 5-speed, and really the interior, although it's not that comfortable for long distances, it'll get the job done. Let's get out and see if this Backdraft Racing 2,500 pound go-kart is worth six figures.
So as you guys can see, this is a pretty noisy episode. We got a 65 Shelby Cobra replica from Backdraft. And you're not going to be able to hear much. So this episode is going to be much more focused on really the driving and less me talking. All right, Backdraft, let's see what you're all about. This car is fast. heart rate's up. This thing's badass. You know, the car only weighs 2,500 pounds probably with me in it and all the fuel and all the gear. And it makes 550, 560, 570 horse. Checking all the gauges. We're good. Let's do our 3.2 mile run back to the light. Let's rock and roll.
Let's first talk about the paint. That's the thing that you notice right away when you roll up on this thing. That Ithaca Verde green, whatever color it is, it rocks, man. It's a standout. It's something you notice as soon as you walk up on this thing. Then you have to talk about the speed and the lightweight of the vehicle. It's something you notice right away when you start driving this thing. It doesn't weigh much. It's 23, 24, 2,500 pounds, something like that. You don't feel the heaviness of the weight. When you drive modern cars, you feel that 35, 38, 4,200 pound new vehicles. This is completely different, and that really works in your favor. Then you have to talk about the Roush 427. This thing rocks. There's a reason why Roush is one of the best engine builders in the entire world. This 427 just kicks ass. You heard me getting in it, and I rocked this thing pretty hard on those back roads, and it did a great job. Never had any issues, never overheated, and it performed the entire time I drove it. I was really impressed by this thing. You say whatever you want.
Do I look cute this time? Because I usually look like a mess.
Well, you're the one that puts the outfit on and looks like you do.
I'm running around.
Here we go. The build quality is also very good. I know these replicas have got some bad reputations through the years of being low quality, but as I mentioned in the beginning, Shelby America has really cracked down on those licensing agreements and really picked the right builders that can actually build these cars correctly, and Backdraft is one of those top builders for a reason. This car has over $100,000 price tag, but really what you're getting is a bargain price race car, and it absolutely shows. It's worth every single penny. It's got the engine that rocks, the suspension that's sorted, the fit and finish on it is good, and I think it actually comes with a warranty new. So let's talk about the drawbacks. This thing's a convertible, and I am just not a huge fan of convertibles at all. They do make this car in an actual hardtop. I've seen it, you've seen it. It doesn't look good. That's why you don't see it too often. It does rock, but convertibles, they're just not my thing. I'm not into the whole letting my hair blow kind of thing for obvious reasons. We've talked about this car really is a turnkey race car, and race cars really have a tough time at low speeds, and this car is no different. This car really starts coming alive and everything starts really working correctly when you're driving at high speeds. Below that, now you got to kind of wrestle the car around the road. It's not a real comfortable drive. If you're looking for a comfortable vehicle, this is probably not the one for you. This is a turnkey race car like I talked about, and it loves to be driven at the limit. That's when this thing really comes alive, but that's kind of hard to live with if you want to drive this thing every day.
Something in my face.
It's your face.
No.
Oh God. Now, one of my biggest drawbacks in this car is the pedal and the shifter location. The shifter is seated way back, about 5 or 6, maybe even 10 inches back too far, and I almost kind of have to reach back to shift the car. The pedals also sit way to the left and up a little bit. I found myself always kind of switching back and forth and accidentally hitting one pedal or the other when I really shouldn't. That was difficult. It took me a couple of days of driving to really get used to driving this thing. This thing was really meant to be a race car, and that's exactly what it is. It's not really meant to be driven across country, although I'm sure it would hold up and do just fine. You definitely have to have your chiropractor on speed dial after that trip.
Ownership, take 1. So close.
Not that close. So at the end of every single show, what are you laughing at?
Oh, you bit your tongue and then you started.
At the end of every single show, I ask myself, would I own this car? And this one, I wouldn't. And I'll tell you why. It's not because of the build quality. It's not because it's not fast, built well, or doesn't get a lot of attention, because it does all those things. I'm really spoiled. And as I've gotten older, I like the best of both worlds. I like that new modern technology. This thing is really stuck in that old school speed kind of era, and it's just not my thing. It beats you up pretty bad. I felt it after a couple of days of driving it. I want to thank Frank from Earth Motor Cars, not only for allowing us to film at his facility again, but to also use one of his amazing cars. They're an actual licensed Backdraft dealer, and you can order a brand new Backdraft Racing Cobra from these guys, as well as a used one. These guys have plenty of inventory. So if you're looking to buy a turnkey race car, these are really the guys to buy it from. Now let's get out, let's take one more speed run in this thing, and let's see what this car is really capable of.
backdraft, and these Roush motors are the real deal. They're absolutely the real deal.
Hey, thanks for watching this episode of the OTG show. I hope you enjoyed this thing as much as I did. This Roush-powered Cobra is an absolute monster on the street. As always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And yes, I will be battling with you online. Can't wait to see what you thought of this episode.